Hello, this is Mish, and welcome to my review of Butcher. So this title is coming out on the 6th of October onto Steam at a price of $9.99 US or your original equivalent. Now, being open and honest, I received this title for free, but that will not change how I approach the game and my overall summary and review. So what is Butcher? Well, it's a 2D, fast-paced, very gory platform shooter. So if you are familiar with a game from many years ago called Soldat, these guys started with that game. And for me, Butcher is a combination of Soldat and Doom from the 90s, so if you could smash those two games together, you would come out with Butcher. It's a real love child of those two games, if you could call it such a thing. It's a weird image in my head. Anyway, so let's talk about the gameplay. So this game is very difficult. One of their slogans is the easiest mode is hard, and I would agree with that. Sometimes I got stuck on the same level for a long time, trying to figure out ways to work around it. You die very quickly. So the overall concept here is you start on a level, you need to destroy everything in it to proceed. Sometimes there's lockable areas where you need to find a button to press it to unlock it, or sometimes you might need to travel on an elevator whilst it's doing something, or avoid some rolling spike of pain, doom thing that's going to kill you mercilessly. And sometimes you'll even get locked into an arena, and you need to survive the onslaught of enemies. So once again, I'll say this is a very hard game, but it's good, it's challenging. I want to keep going. I've spent a good couple hours in the game, and I want to keep going. It's not so difficult that it puts me off. It's difficult as if it's challenging, but it's rewarding at the same time. A very old school component there that's missing from a lot of modern games. So we have just over 20 levels to fight your way through. A couple of different weapons. At the moment I've had, you start with a chainsaw, you get a shotgun, a machine gun, you get a flamethrower. I believe you get a grenade launcher as well, so a couple of different weapons there for variation. Okay, so let's move on to a summary. Is this game any good? So I normally start with graphics and audio, then move on to gameplay, then just summarize my overall thoughts. So graphically, I quite like it. It's not for everyone. It's obviously the pixel design there, so it's quite nice. It's very retro. It's unique. I think the levels look quite nice when when you start a level and then you go through it, and you end up spraying the whole area with blood from all the enemies you kill. It's very, it's a cool looking thing. It's a cool looking design. But for me, it's a little annoying with the characters. You lose a lot of detail with that design, and it would be nice to see more detail about your main character, the cyborg, and also the enemies that you're fighting. You can get their overall gist of what they're trying to portray, but it's always nice to have a bit more detail on it. I can understand why they've done it because it fits the rest of the game perfectly, but for me, just a bit more detail on characters, and that may annoy people as well. But anyway, let's move on to audio. So audio, the soundtrack is pretty good. It's very, heavy metal, industrial music, which really fits the 90s kind of doom and quake. It really fits it quite nicely. So if you like that older school game and older school music, this will probably fit the bill. The weapons sound nice. The characters in the game, the screams and the noises, very gory and blood-curdling screams. It's quite funny. But yeah, it definitely all matches nicely. There's a nice synergy between the retro visual style and the old school music. So it's done very well, very deliberate and quite nicely. So let's talk about the gameplay. I definitely enjoyed my time with this game. I'm probably going to keep going and finish the game as I'm not too far off now. I've done a good maybe 12 levels, so just over halfway I hope. And the thing is, it's really difficult. The game is hard, but it's not hard to the point where it's not fun. It's just you need to rethink your strategy. You need to figure out how the enemies are firing, avoid their bullets and then take them out. And all weapons are powerful as well, which is nice. There's no one which you would use more. They all have their purposes. They're all good. You need to use them well. The level design is quite nice. There's some traps in there. There's interesting stuff going on. So it's always fresh and new. Every level feels different, which is good. It's not very repetitive in that aspect. But yeah, I would say the gameplay's difficulty might not be for everyone. So if you're not into a game that you're going to need to repeat quite often, then maybe don't pick this one up. But for old school people that don't mind that like Doom, that like Soldat, and want that combination of the two in a really bloody, violent game, then this might be what you want. It also has a few other things as well. We have collectibles, so you have collectible skulls on each level, so that's something which obviously the completionist might like. We have multiple levels of difficulty. We start on hard, then it gets harder and harder. So if you're starting to progress into those difficulty levels, hat off to you, because this game is difficult already on the easiest level. So final summary, $9.99. You're going to get a good few hours out of this game. I've already sunk in 3 hours and I'm coming up to halfway, so let's say 6 to 7 hours to maybe complete it once over. Then you've obviously got, you want to do it again, or you want to collect those skulls. So for $9.99, that's not a bad deal. Visually and audio, very retro, very reminiscent of those games. As I said, Soldat and Quake and Doom really harks back to that era of those games in the 90s. So if you're into those games, you might like this. Definitely the whole feel of the game is, I guess, single-player Soldat in a Doom world. That's kind of the overall component here. I really liked it. It's really good, but it's not going to be for everybody because it is pretty gory and it's pretty dark, and the difficulty will definitely put some people off. But for me, I'm saying thumbs up because I really enjoyed it and I like that old school challenge and I like the old school era of games. So for me, it was good. So I think the guys over there at Transhuman Design, the developers behind this game, have done a good job here of what they really aim to do, and I think they've achieved that. And just, I guess, a bit of information about these guys. So under this name, the Transhuman Design, they've released a few games onto Steam. King Arthur's Gold 2013, very positive response from the Steam community on that. Another game which was Trench Run, released this year, not so positive, but not negative either, just not that, I guess, overwhelming positive response. So if you're interested, if you like this game, maybe check those games out, and of course check out Soldat as well. I'll put the link to that below because that's a free game, very old school. If you've never heard of it before, it's a lot of fun, multiplayer only, jump on and just 2D fighting. It's one of the original games like that, so it's a cool little game there. So I'll leave this review here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I've given you enough information and knowledge to know to purchase this game or not. But for me, I say, yeah, if you're into those old school games, definitely pick this one up. You won't be disappointed. But if you're not into those old school games, if you're shy of very difficult games, maybe don't get this one. But I've really enjoyed my time with this game. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you didn't. Subscribe for more content from myself in the future. I've got some other reviews coming out shortly. And until next time, this is Mesh saying cheerio.